Do you want to farm Ho quickly every week, but you don't want to break the bank?
Poor!
Then you've come to the right place. Hey guys, Jinx here, and today I want to show you the quickest and cheapest team for beating Ho-Oh in PokeMMO. While the previous strategy I've used does still work, this one does not require any expensive mons and clears the fight even faster. This is a variation of another Ho-Oh strat in the community, however with an altered EV spread, we can run it with even lower IVs, lowering the overall cost of the team. I'll start by going over the rewards, the builds, then the cost of the team, then I'll get into how to do the run. Check out the timestamps below to find the section that you need. First off, let's take a look at the reward for fighting Ho-Oh. You can do this fight weekly and it'll give you 3 legendary lures and 10 rainbow quills. These vary in price depending on the market, but usually it works out to about 100k value if sold on the GTL. It's not a bad payout considering the run-up and the fight takes about 10 minutes total to complete once you know how to do it. Next, let's take a look at the team that we'll be using. This is a variant of a strategy I found on Bilibili when I was looking for the cheapest and most efficient method of doing this. I have made some of my own personal changes to increase the consistency, but I will link to the original video that I got this strategy idea from in the description below. The team's going to be made up of Chandelure, Lunatone, and Rotom Heat. I'll start with the speed stat of all of them because you don't actually need any specific IV, you just need to ensure the order of their speed is correct. This is a trick room team, so we don't actually need to outspeed Ho-Oh. Chandelure just has to be faster than Rotom, and then Lunatone must be the slowest. Any speed stat works as long as this order is maintained. For this reason, Modest is usually best for Chandelure, and then Rotom and Lunatone can go quiet. You can make it work with them all being quiet or all being modest, just make sure that you check the speed IVs to make sure that the order is correct. Due to their natural base speed stats, it's usually easiest to just make the Chandelure modest and the others quiet though. As a general guideline, try to keep Chandelure's speed relatively high and Rotom's speed relatively low. Lunatone has a low base speed comparatively, so it shouldn't be one that you have to worry much about. But again, it is just beneficial to keep it low. Starting with Chandelure, you need at least 28 plus special attack, although you can go with 31 if you prefer, and you need 15 or higher in your HP, defense, and special defense. The higher your defenses in general across all 3 teams, the lower the risk. However, I have found that at the 15 plus range, I have reached a high level of consistency. You want to try to keep your defense IV higher than your special defense IV. Also, because we want Ho to choose a special move, Earth Power, on it, over the physical move, Skydrop. You'll see why that's relevant later. It's not a huge deal if these 2 IVs are close, however, to try to make sure your special defense isn't majorly higher than the physical. It'll need the EV spread of 252 defense, 200 special attack, and 58 special defense. Again, we want to maximize our defense so that Ho-Oh doesn't want to use a physical move on us. Again, the most ideal nature is modest, and some speed stat is good to help ensure the speed order. Other than that, you'll need the Flashfire ability and the spell tag item. Its moveset will be Safeguard, Shadow Ball, Protect, and Psych Up. Next, let's take a look at Rotom Heat. You will need 31 special attack and 15 or higher in all 3 defenses. Again, Quiet is the best nature because it's usually cheaper to find a Ditto with that nature, and it makes the speed order a little bit easier because Rotom has a higher base speed than Chandelure. It will need 82 defense EVs, 208 special attack EVs, and 220 special defense EVs. It's going to be using an Expert Belt as its item, and will have the moveset Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ground, Light Screen, and Nasty Plot. In case you don't know, you can change your Rotom form by going into the building north of Eterna City in Sinnoh, and then entering the passage to the west. From here, you can change any Rotom into any form for 20k. Also, if you need to change the type of your hidden power, you can use 40 ground gems on Rotom to swap the type of its hidden power. The last member of our team is Lunatone. This will need 31 special attack, and also 15 plus in all 3 defenses. It needs to be quiet or modest nature, but again, quiet's usually cheaper since you have to use Dittos to breed, and it helps Lunatone be the slowest. It'll use 252 HP EVs, 130 special attack EVs, and 128 special defense EVs. It uses Hearthstone as its item, and needs the moveset Power Gem, Protect, Trick Room, and Psych Up. Make sure you don't bring any other team members with you, otherwise Ho-Oh will start the fight with a whirlwind effect and swap your order all around. The cost of the team can be made pretty cheap depending on the market. I made this Lunatone for about 22k, although I did get pretty lucky coming across one with modest nature, and I just needed to add a 15 plus defense, 31 special attack Ditto to it. I find Lunatone varies the most in cost, since not many people are farming it and selling it on the GTL. I made this Rotom by starting with a 15 plus defensive, 31 special attack Rotom, and adding a 15 plus defenses Quiet Nature Ditto to it. Cost of the breeders plus the band and the Everstone were 38k total. And finally, this Chandelure was made for 30k with a 15 plus modest Litwick and a 15 plus special attack Ditto. It was 16k for the breeders and about 14k for the band and Everstone for a total of 30k. As you can see, this team is pretty cheap, as the breeders only cost about 90k total for the whole team before you had to buy TMs. This means one run will pay for these 3 alone. Since I just made these to show you a cost breakdown for the video, I'll actually be giving this team away since I already have my own, so if you comment your in-game name below, you can enter for a chance to win these 3. I'll do a draw and send it via mail to the winning IGN in the comments 1 week from the release of this video. While you're scrolling down to enter the giveaway, make sure you check that you're subscribed and hit that like button. It really helps the growth of the channel and helps me bring you more content just like this. While the Pokemon for the team aren't very expensive, unfortunately the TMs can be a bit pricey, especially due to Hidden Power Ground requiring 40 ground gems. The total cost of the TMs for the whole team is about 170k. Make sure to check the GTL because you can find a few of the TMs much cheaper there compared to buying them in the market. The Hidden Power Ground alone is about 80k, 30k for the TM, and then about 50,000 for the gems, which adds a lot to the cost of this team. Still, even with this, you're going to be building the whole team all in for under 300k. This means in just about 3 weeks you'll have the team paid off and you'll be making profit for the rest of the time after that. Or if you have 3 characters through Johto, you could do it all in 1 week if you run all 3 characters through Ho-Oh. If you're looking for a quick way to finish Johto on your alts, make sure to check out the guide linked in the corner of your screen, where I show you how to run through Johto in just a few hours. I'll also show you the most budget team that I could get away with. This team worked for the most part, even with absurdly low IVs on it, below 15 plus defenses, it still worked over 90% of the time. Definitely recommend just sticking with 15 plus breeders, but I tried to breed this one as low IV as possible as a stress test, and it still worked pretty well. Now that we know what we need, I'll show you the quickest path up the tower. After you get to floor 2 of the tower, I recommend using a regular repel and then a super repel to get to the top. This will take you right to the top without getting any encounters or wasting any repel steps. Now that we're here, let's make sure we have the team in the correct order. Chandelure in the first slot, Rotom in the second, and Lunatone in the third. Also, as a note, I have a spreadsheet linked in the description that you can refer back to for a turn-by-turn summary, along with a full build summary and items needed for this strategy. I've also included some additional notes that might be interesting for specific damage values and healing properties of Ho-Oh, if you're curious. Getting into the fight, turn 1 will start with Chandelure using Safeguard, Rotom using Nasty Plot, and Lunatone using Protect. Safeguard's going to protect us from that AoE burn effect, Rotom's going to be setting up Nasty Plots, and we're going to copy that over with Psych Up later. Going into turn 2, we're going to use Protect on Chandelure, Nasty Plot again on Rotom, and we're going to set Trick Room with Lunatone. Ho-Oh will break through Chandelure's Protect here with Earth Power, but it should only do about 20% damage, so we should be okay moving forward. On turn 3, Chandelure will be swapping with Lunatone, Rotom will be dealing with the adds, using either Hidden Power if it's Raikou or Entei, or Thunderbolt if it's Suicune, and Lunatone will Psych Up on Rotom to take that +4 special attack boost. Ho-Oh will always target Chandelure from here on. It'll use Earth Power on Chandelure, so as it swaps positions with Lunatone, nothing will happen, since Lunatone has Levitate, so it's immune to the Earth Power. Turn 4 will have Lunatone Power Gemming Ho-Oh, Rotom taking out the add, and Chandelure swapping with Lunatone, again so Lunatone can tank that Earth Power with Levitate. Next turn, Lunatone is going to Power Gem Ho-Oh again, Chandelure will swap with Lunatone again, and since there will be no dog up, Rotom can use Thunderbolt on Ho-Oh. For turn 6, the last dog is going to come in, and we'll just Power Gem Ho-Oh, Rotom will deal with the add, and Chandelure will swap again. This turn is where the possible fail condition is if you've had more than one crit on your power gems. If you crit 2 out of the 3 power gems in this, it can lead to an early KO. It is possible to prevent this by juggling Chandelure and allowing Ho-Oh to heal back up a bit with its rebirth ability, but this is such a rare situation, so personally I just take it as a loss because it's a 1% chance of happening. If you notice that Ho-Oh is less than 29% and you don't want to risk the power gem critting in this turn, you can juggle Chandelure and Lunatone a couple more turns as Ho-Oh heals back up into a safe threshold. Personally, I usually just go for it because hitting 2 out of 3 crits is very unlikely, about a 1% chance of happening, which means if you're doing Ho-Oh weekly, this will happen about once every 2 years of running it. At this point, Ho-Oh will be in KO range of Power Gem, so we're going to take turn 7 to set up for the rest of the fight. Chandelure is going to swap with Lunatone, Rotom will set up a light screen to help us tank the final turns, and Lunatone will reset the Trick Room. Turn 8 will be our transition into Phase 2. As we go into Phase 2, stat boosts are wiped, so Rotom and Lunatone will lose their +4 special attack. Because of this, we're going to need a nasty plot with Rotom to get a +2 special attack boost again, and we're going to psych up with Chandelure. We're going to have Lunatone Power Gem to KO Ho-Oh. The Power Gem will go off first tier due to the speed order. Then after Phase 2 begins and the stat wipe goes off, Rotom will nasty plot, and Chandelure will copy it with Psych Up. Just as a note, there's supposed to be a shiny Ho-Oh here, but since the recent update, it seems to be invisible. So I'll replace it with this. This will lead us to turn 9, where now we're starting our first move selection of Phase 2, and Rotom already has a +2, and Chandelure also has a +2. From here, we're just all going to attack constantly until Ho-Oh is down. Power Gem, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball. Depending on your defensive IVs, Lunatone and Chandelure may get low or even go down, depending on how budget your team is, but just keep attacking through. If all are up, Ho-Oh will die on turn 10, however if Lunatone and or Chandelure go down, you might need to finish it off with Rotom on turn 11. And that's it for the Ho-Oh fight. If you have a Fly Ocarina, you can fly back down, however if you do not, I recommend just running back into the tower, getting into an encounter, and then disconnecting. This will bring you right back to the PC. It'll give you the 10-minute logout penalty, however if you're doing alt runs, you can actually fight Ho-Oh with the DC penalty, so disconnecting doesn't prevent you from running it on alts. Let me know how this strat worked for you in the comments below, and make sure to include your IGN, and I'll send out the example breeders that I used in this video that I made to one of you. If you want to go above and beyond with your support, check out the join button to become a member and support the channel even further. Thank you so much to all the YouTube members and Twitch subscribers. Your support is so much appreciated. So that's all I have for you in this one, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.